So this is our tight end special, and the top tight ends on the Colts are these guys. All right, with tight end analysis out of the way, holy crap, Andrew Luck retired. If you already drafted Luck, who was QB3 at the start of the preseason, I feel awful for you. I mean, out of nowhere, right? To be clear, I feel awful for everyone except OJ. But for those of you who drafted other Colts who have not retired, the news isn't as bad as you might think. Yes, T.Y. Hilton's value drops, but he's still a wide receiver 2 in my book. In fact, if you look closer, in his career, with Jacoby Brissett under center, T.Y. Hilton averages nearly the same number of fantasy points per target as he did with Andrew Luck. The volume, however, does drop a bit. Hilton targeted on 20% of his routes with Brissett. It was over 25% with Andrew Luck. Still, the Colts have a better offensive line, a better overall offense than they did 2 years ago when Brissett started 15 games. He's also been in this offense for a couple of years. Hilton will still see plenty of opportunities. I have him just inside my top 20. Marlon Mack, however, he dips a little bit as well, going from an RB2 with RB1 upside to a low-end RB2 or flex option. Where he suffers is when or if the Colts are trailing, which is more likely without Luck. Last season, when the Colts were behind, Nyheim Hines played nearly 2.5 times as many snaps as Marlon Mack did. As for a tight end, this is the tight end show after all. Eric Ebron was already heading for a major regression even with Andrew Luck. No chance he was getting 13 touchdowns again, and in the 6 games he didn't score, he averages 6.2 fantasy points per game. He's outside my top 10 and on the hate list this year. But Jack Doyle remains a late-round tight end flyer for me. In 2017, when Jacoby Brissett started those 15 games, Doyle had a team-high 23% target share and led the Colts in both targets and receptions per route run. The circumstances are different this time, but Brissett clearly has a connection with Doyle. I have Jack Doyle as my tight end 12 and Ebron as my tight end 15. Oh, and Jacoby Brissett, he's now my QB 24, unless he retires, in which case I'll drop him to QB 30, just ahead of Eli Manning and Joe Flacco. The NFL is objectively worse without Rob Gronkowski in it. But if there is one silver lining to his retirement...
Maybe the Patriots won't win the Super Bowl again, Matthew.
All right. If there is a second silver lining to retirement, it's that maybe people will finally start appreciating the guy who has actually been the best tight end in fantasy football the last few years, Travis Kelce. In each of the last 2 years, Kelce has recorded at least 80 receptions, over 1,000 receiving yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. Only him, Antonio Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins can say that. That's it. That's the entire list. Kelce is consistent on a game-to-game basis as well. Another thing you love in fantasy. Last year, Kelce, the only player to record at least 5 catches in 15 games. Now look, every time of this year, I'll tell anyone who will listen my number 1 fantasy rule. The key to success is entirely about minimizing risk and giving yourself the best odds to win, right? And then I usually yell another rule at them. Wait on tight ends. They usually don't have as high a floor as other players you should take in early rounds. There is risk there. But when it comes to Travis Kelce, and only Kelce this year, he's worth an early pick. He has a high floor and ceiling. He has a track record. He's consistent, and he's a vital part of one of the best, if not the best, offense in football. I'd take Kelce as early as the 2nd round. I have him ranked 14th overall in fantasy. And when you consider the gap between him and the rest of the players at the tight end position, Kelce has the potential to be a league winner, just like Gronk was in his prime.
Oh, sure, it's okay for Gronk to be shirtless. Yeah.
That's correct, Daniel. It is okay for Gronk to be shirtless. You, my friend, are no Gronk. So while Travis Kelce is the consensus top tight end in fantasy, Kelce, George Kittle, and Zach Ertz make up the consensus top 3 at the position.
Hey, everybody, it's me, the Bear of Bad News. I'm a bear, and I bring bad news. Get it?
Hey, Bear, sorry, everyone. I thought you only interrupted me when you had bad news.
Yeah, well, actually, no, this is more of a slow play, they call it in the business. You know, I heard you mention Zach Ertz, so, just keep doing what you're doing. I'll wait it out.
All right, okay. All right, well, weird, but look, Kittle and Ertz were outstanding last year. We know this, right? But there are good reasons for why both of them will likely regress in 2019. You think about last season when George Kittle led all players with 855 yards after the catch. He also had 3 different receptions of at least 70 yards. 3 in 1 year. The last time a tight end had 3 receptions of over 70 yards for a career was Marcus Pollard in 2001, right? No one's ever done it in 1 season until Kittle did it last season. And then you think about Zach Ertz, who was targeted on over 28% of his routes, over 4 full percentage points higher than his rate over the previous 3 seasons. Both are talented, but both likely to come back to earth. Do I think Kittle can duplicate his 1 big season? Does he have a connection with Jimmy Garoppolo? How much will the additions of Tevin Coleman, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Hurd, and a full season of Dante Pettis take away from his volume? And then you think about Zach Ertz, right? Dallas Goedert appears slated for a larger role this year. There are a lot of other mouths to feed in that Eagles offense, including new addition Deshaun Jackson. Hard to imagine Zach Ertz having the same kind of target share in 2019. Now, they're still my number 2 and number 3 ranked tight ends, but I have Kittle ranked 28th overall and Ertz 32nd. If they're available in the late 3rd or early 4th round, go for it. But I both say both are too risky for the 2nd round, where I have Travis Kelce, and I've seen them go towards the end of the 2nd round in some drafts.
Hey, Barry.
Yeah, Barry.
I was wondering, when are you taking Tyler Eifert this year?
When am I taking Eifert? Well, I mean, he's been injury prone for so long, and when you factor in the Bengals offense.
Yeah. I don't care, buddy. I got everything I need. Hey, Javi, can you edit that together like I asked?
Eifert?
Buzzing.
I'm not paid enough for this crap. Tune into the Fantasy Show with Matthew Berry all season long, streaming exclusively on ESPN+.
Hey guys, thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more great ESPN streaming content, download the ESPN app and subscribe to ESPN+.